time. For some reason, the San Francisco server hates our life right now. And why did we have some audio issues when we went live for a second there before? Why did we have that? Well, gee, it's because someone...
Why are you looking at me? Oh, no.
Someone
No.
knocked our mixer off the table, okay?
Wow.
Okay? Someone's bright idea was to glue the power connector into the mixer, okay? So it falls off the table onto the power connector, which...
Why would the glue have anything to do with...
Which breaks... two of the pins off into the back of the connector, which now have glue all over the place, and I'll be, clear about who this was. I was trying to salvage it by pulling the pins out, and so basically, long story short, the mixer's okay. The power input for it is not, so we need a new one. So we had some issues there, and someone is responsible for them. I don't want to name any names or anything, but
that someone would be totally okay with having the whole company transferred into his name. If he's gonna have to be blamed for things that he didn't do, he might as well have the things that the person that did them has. I'd be cool with that.
So we've got a great show for you guys today. NVIDIA still has a shovel, but this time they're filling up holes. But not like screwing anyone.
Nope.
Like not that kind of filling up holes.
They're like planting trees in the holes that they dug.
Yeah, see, they're restoring overclocking to their mobile GPUs. Also, Apple may enter the car game. This could be fun to see. Would you buy an Apple car? Well, we'll discuss it later. Yeah, we'll discuss it later.
Is this your fun to see?
Fun to see? Oh. Okay, tell them topics. Sounds good.
Sony is attempting to sell snake oil. It's not going very well for them. Everyone on the planet has pointed it out, and no one's believing them at all. So, yep. Also, DNA hard drives sound pretty freaking cool. Maybe not crazy usable and crazy feasible right now, but pretty freaking cool regardless.
All right, let's run that intro.
Dun, 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 dun.
So are we allowed to show, like...
Our logo?
Hold on. It's still loud.
Sponsored by us.
So are we allowed to show, like, our own logo on this thing? Because I'm not really sure. Wait. Are these graphics on the... they're probably on that USB drive.
Yep.
So there's no logos. Because in other news this week, YouTube no longer allows brand logos in splash
what
screens.
Ones are that? I can be the logos.
So okay, we'll go back to
I can be the logos.
So this week's show is brought to you by iFixit. No, you cover the by Luke.
Yeah, there we go.
Also lynda.com. You're much hotter than her. And Squarespace.
Wait.
Yeah, that's it. Is
that
not
okay?
it? I don't know. I think
It's
so.
a logo, but it's not a title card.
Yeah, it's not a title
Logo!
card.
But it's
really
out of focus.
Horrible blurry logo.
It's here. I promise you it's there.
Apparently there was no sound at some point. Other people can hear just fine, so I think it's just someone's got their volume muted.
Okay.
All right, so why don't we jump right into our first topic of the day?
Hooray!
Which I will find
first
at some
topic
point
of the day. Hooray!
NVIDIA to restore overclocking in mobile GPUs. This was originally posted by QWERTY Warrior. Are you going to throw the article in there?
Yep.
So basically what it comes down to, and we talked about this last week, is NVIDIA took out overclocking from a mobile driver. And we discussed this last week, and I think we pretty much agreed on all points. Dick move. but you probably shouldn't be overclocking a laptop.
Probably.
So that was kind of the... And I had some people get really upset about me making that statement because there are laptops that do have beefy enough cooling systems to be able to handle overclocking just fine. Asus G751, there are some Clevo-made machines that definitely have enough cooling and are overbuilt enough that it should be fine. But in general, people shouldn't be overclocking the GPU in their laptops anyway. But basically, having received a lot of pressure from... Oh, I never actually brought up the Tech Power Up link here. Go ahead.
Have we tested your push?
Yep. Yeah, everything's fine.
Cool.
So basically, users were super mad, and with its most recent driver update, the company decided to restore overclocking with its next driver update scheduled for March. So you won't have to wait that long, and in the meantime, you can revert to the older 344.75 drivers. So I guess that's pretty much all there is to say about that. That's two super positive things I've seen from them in the last little bit. Are we over GTX 970 VRAM gate? Oh, probably not. And I've had some users bring up some really good points about that, but I got a sweet update for my Shield to help with emulation performance, and they restored overclocking on their mobile GPUs, so maybe they don't just hate their customers after all.
Yay!
Along the lines of the Huh? Can I help you?
Trying not to interrupt. I emailed you the lower thirds because those were also just on the USB.
Oh.
Email's not helpful.
Yeah, I can't do anything with that.
Just plug the USB back in?
No, we can't because there's more USB stuff. Don't worry. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. All's well.
Can you plug it in the front?
Yes, that would work. Do you want to do that? I left it on top of the chassis. Okay, in the meantime, what was I even talking about?
Oh, you were talking about NVIDIA being better.
Right, 970 gate.
Stuff.
So I actually got a PM
Oh my god,
from...
can we not call it gate? I'm so tired of everything being called whatever it is and then gate.
How about break the VRAM internet?
Oh.
Did I make it worse?
Yes.
I wanted to make it worse. That was what I was going for. I was trying to pretend I was making it better, but actually I made it worse.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that was my intention. Right. So I actually had someone PM me on the forum and go, well, hey, hold on a second, Linus. You said that even though that memory is much slower, that 500 meg chunk of memory is much slower, it's still faster than system memory, but I checked mine and my system memory is faster. And while this user did have like 2000 megahertz DDR3 or something like that, like it was some super high-end premium memory, and a lot of users wouldn't be running system memory that's as fast as that chunk, it still brought up an interesting point. I mean, what about those users whose system memory is significantly faster than that slow chunk of memory? They wouldn't even want NVIDIA's tomfoolery with overflowing into that. I mean, you might as well just go to system RAM and be able to turn it off. So I thought that was a really interesting point, and I guess that leads us pretty well into our next topic here. This was posted by this... Okay, whatever. Unless you know what? No, new policy. Unless your username on the forum is an actual...
SLSAMG.
I don't care. Unless your username on the forum is an actual name or word,
car.
I'm not even going to try. It's a car? Oh, well, I'm not much of a car person. So, NVIDIA gets hit with a false advertising suit over GTX 970 performance. So pretty much that is what it sounds like. Some people are mad, and it claims that NVIDIA misled customers about the capabilities of the GTX 970, claims the last half gig runs 80% slower than advertised and can cause images to stutter at high resolutions and cause poor in-game performance, and for some reason Gigabyte is the only OEM being named as a defendant. So, yeah, NVIDIA declined to comment about the suit, and the lawsuit seeks a jury trial and damages that apply under California law, filed on behalf of all U.S. customers that purchased a GTX 970. The judge has to approve it as a class action suit before it can proceed. So, lawyers make money, and everyone else gets a check for $12 in 5 years.
Yeah. Those things are just the worst. Unless it's for, like, actually substantial amounts of money, which it never is, then it's just the worst. Where
Can I help you?
did my glass of water go? I'm largely just worried that I'm going to kick it.
Right. Oh, it's under there.
Okay,
Yep.
we're good.
You won't kick it unless you... If you manage to kick that, then you are one talented kicker. I don't see... I think you'd hit your shin here before you could put your foot... Okay, he's look. This is why I hate this show. He's got his foot like this, and he's like daintily like pointing at the yeah. That's
You
not
said my
kicking.
shin would hit first.
I used the word kick. That is not a kick. If you kick like that, I'm not playing. So I'll play sports with you, but not on your team.
All right, touche.
All right, Samsung sues LG executive. LG sues Samsung. This was posted by SSOB on the forum, and I love this story because
This is so. Oh.
this is the pettiest
Yeah.
nonsense that I have read in quite some time. You want to go through what happened here?
The worst series of events ever. Okay, so what is it? LG Home Appliances chief and 2 of his employees were indicted for deliberately damaging Samsung washing machines at like some store or something.
In Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then where is it?
They admitted to it.
Yeah, and then they agreed to pay the damages after some German authorities were like, "What?" And then I think they made fun of Samsung quality or something. Yeah,
Yep.
they took a pot shot at the quality of Samsung products, and Samsung was like, "You can't." say
Lodged a
bad
formal
things about
complaint.
us." Yeah.
Then separately, Samsung Display said that 4 of its employees were indicted, charged with stealing OLED display panel tech from LG Display Co. Limited, charged with illegally obtaining the information from an LG contractor. This is these Korean rivals over here are getting. I mean,
They're getting real high school up in this.
can you even imagine? Like, I worked at a retailer for a long time,
I
and like,
can't even literally.
if I can't even begin to imagine, like, our Intel rep, okay, like, comes to tour a store with us, and I turn my back on him for a second,
And he starts beating up AMD
and he sticks a
laptops or something.
screwdriver into, like, the cooling fan of, like, an AMD computer. Like, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about here.
Oh man.
That is some serious, like, grade 8, grade 9 stuff.
Appliances chief. Like, it's not even like some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not some, like, some
Like
guerrilla
a rep
warfare.
that works at that store
Yeah.
and is trying to make his products look better. Like, it's not that.
No.
Like, that's fairly low level, and actually, like, I understand that a lot
It's
more.
not even like a country sales representative who's like, trying to how could an executive do something like this?
He's probably on a business trip officially in Germany.
Like, if you're some vigilante employee,
Yeah.
like, I can see stuff like that happening. Like, the whole thing with who was it? Was it Verizon or AT&T or something where they're renaming customers' names to Butthead and okay, whatever. Like, there we're talking about the actions of one employee.
Yeah.
For a high-level executive to behave in such a manner as that,
It's just crazy.
that reflects a mindset at the company that is just not very mature. And whatever comes of the lawsuits, I think this is just embarrassing enough that no matter how much they're forced to pay in damages for, ruining someone else's washing machine, they should just be, the embarrassment should be worse than any of that.
It's probably not.
That's just
but it should be
ridiculous.
Yeah. I
Absolutely
can't even.
ridiculous.
I was reading through that story and I clicked through the link being like, this isn't going to be real. This isn't going to be real at all. This is ridiculous. There's no way. Oh, it's real.
Oh, apparently it was
That actually
Comcast. Apparently it was Comcast with the renaming
Sure,
stuff.
they're all
but
ridiculous.
it doesn't matter because it could have just as easily been anyone else or something like that. All right, so this
Your favorite topic of the year.
This is some serious rumor mill stuff going on here. So original article here is from 9 to 5 Mac. This was posted by Pit 5000, and we've also got another post from Blaze 756. And Apple is rumored to be entering the car game. Now, this is actually a debate I had post iPhone, but pre iPad with the NCIX cameraman, who a lot of people seem to think is Luke, but NCIX cameraman was always a different person. NCIX cameraman is a person, and then the people who operated the camera while I was at NCIX all had their own aliases.
There was one specific person that was the NCX cameraman.
Yeah, and he was like the Mac guy, and he's the one that I always had that Mac banter back and forth with, and he was the one who convinced me to get an iPhone 4 and like all that stuff. So we were talking, and he goes, what's Apple's next big move? And not having thought of smartwatches, unfortunately, I said an iCar.
They had already done that.
I'm sorry?
They had already done that.
That's true. They had already done a watch, but
so
that
you were right.
That was Jonathan Morrison's very silly video, and where he blindsided me with the Apple Watch, and it was very funny actually. You can check that out. It's on TLD today on YouTube. But he asked me what's their next big move, and I said iCar. And then I want to get this out there again before I get into all the rumors about the Apple Car. But then my next prediction was iHome, and he said no, impossible, because Apple's design philosophy is that it's almost early Ford like. Here is the one color, or maybe if you're lucky, 3 different colors, and here are the 2 models, or you could have last year's if you're some kind of scrub. Like that's about all they do. And he goes, no, the car is too personal a thing, and a home is too personal a thing. There is no one size fits all. And I kind of went, well, Apple's whole thing is they figure out the one size fits like
they're gonna have like
half of people
bumper cases for your car,
and that's good enough. And so the cars. So Wall Street Journal reports Tim Cook approved Apple electric car project a year ago, and there are apparently, rumored, allegedly, hundreds of employees working on it. So Steve Zadesky, a former Ford executive, is leading the group, and Apple is working on something that will, quote unquote, give Tesla a run for its money. So he was given permission to create a 1,000-person team.
We have to be careful about a lot of different things in this article, in my opinion, because every single car company that's trying to make an electric car is like, we're gonna give Tesla a run for its money. So like, take statements with a grain of salt. They might. It's Apple.
They might. It's Apple. I mean, if
But-
there's something that Tesla is good at, it's battery and design and just general attitude. And if there's something that Apple is good at, and sex appeal. Tesla's really good at sex appeal. And if there's anything that Apple's good at, it's all that stuff I just listed. They're really good at that stuff, and they have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, although it's funny, I was reading another article, not one that I can pull up right now, about the poaching war that's going on between Tesla and Apple right now, and apparently Apple is having a hard time wooing people over from Tesla. People believe in the direction that company's headed and believe in Musk as a leader, so that's really interesting. Yeah. But anyway, so Zadesky was given permission to create a 1,000-person team and poach employees from different parts of the company. And then this is actually sort of only slightly related, but there are some rumors floating around that it looks like Apple might want to acquire Tesla. I personally think I think it's stupid.
Those rumors are very baseless.
They're speculative rumors.
It's speculative rumors of some investor that's probably like, if I make this rumor really big and then it happens, I'll be super rich.
And people will think I'm super cool, and they will want to swim in my pool with me.
Yeah, like it's not.
And I'll have a pool.
It's one random.
We could play pool in a pool. I would have like a floating pool.
We should tell Lou to install an indoor pool and then make his pool table, like take the legs off and put it on a floaty boat.
That would be awesome.
And then you could play pool in the pool.
Pool in the pool, like pool.
You should play pool in the pool while watching pool. So you have like a TV while you're in the pool too, and you can watch pool tournaments while you play pool in the pool.
So anyway, there's the sort of the speculation here is that no one else in the world could try to acquire Tesla because they either don't have the cash and they don't have the ability to give assurances to Musk that they won't screw it up. Apple's design team, so software, global distribution would actually level Tesla up in some ways, and this all may be the case. But I think that Musk is early enough in the Tesla project that he's not going to just hand over the reins, because it hasn't even begun.
Musk is not afraid to sell things. He's sold 2 of his 2 previous companies, but he also seems to get them to a certain point.
And that was where I was going. Yeah. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near the potential that he probably sees for it and that many people see for it. Not even close. I think he would want to get it to a certain level before he'd be willing to sell.
And I think to him, like when you hear him talk about money, like $75 billion sounds insane, but to him that might not sound that insane, and that might not sound like enough. He values money in a very different way than most people, because he's looking at projects like sending people to Mars, where he needs incredible, like sending armies of people essentially to Mars, like thousands of people. So he needs incredible amounts of money. So his scale is very different to other people's. So he might be looking for a lot more than that. He might be looking for that. I don't know what he's looking for.
Speaking of Mars, Mars 1 selects... Oh, sorry about that. Mars 1 selects 1 alien and 99 human finalists.
So that title makes no freaking sense, and I've never been able to figure out why it makes any sense. It's just 50 guys and 50 girls. No idea why it's 1 alien, 99 humans. I dug very deeply trying to figure that out. No clue.
Okay, so basically they have narrowed it down to 50 finalists of each gender that are going to be going through some physical testing, and they're going to be evaluated in terms of their suitability for, leaving behind everything and everyone they've ever known or loved. Did I mention who this was posted by? Rohith Kumar SP? Yeah, there we go.
Just
and
mute your
I
phone, bro.
I can't. I don't know why. It's like bugging out.
Oh, tap the...
Nope.
Nope.
Alright. So
Okay.
there we go.
There.
Doop-de-doop. Okay,
Yay.
so what else we got for this one?
So I didn't get picked
Did you apply?
a long time ago.
Oh,
I had
really?
actually forgotten that I had. It was like well before I started working here, because this has been a really long time coming.
Right.
So I think when I was at like UVic.
Oh, okay.
So like a while ago.
Right.
Like I don't know how many years, but like
So they had
Yeah.
202,586 applicants, and the scariest thing about this project is this is a one-way trip. These people would die on Mars, so they're going to have to prove that they can demonstrate...
okay, you are completely correct. But I hate that people are saying that sentence in that way.
Well, they would
Because
live
if
on
they
Mars.
didn't send, they would die on Earth.
Yes. Okay,
Like,
fine.
like people are saying like, oh yeah, they're sending 100 people to go die on Mars. It's like, yeah,
What I mean by die on Mars is
they're
would...
not coming back.
Yeah, they would never find out how, I don't know, what's some show people care about. They would never find out how Game of Thrones
not?
ends. Because, well,
You can send data, it's just be really slow.
really slow. You're not gonna be sending like Game of Thrones. You're gonna be sending much more important things
Send,
than
like,
that, I would
Game
think.
of Thrones in like 250 by 250. Look, I see a sword. But,
I
like,
really appreciate how cinematically shot this blocky, pixely mess is.
but they'd be able to they'd get pictures of their family, and they'd be able to like essentially email back and forth and whatnot. Like you could, yeah.
Still pretty
Yes,
crazy.
crazy.
Still pretty crazy. So
Yes.
they're not just going to be selecting people one by one. They're going to have to also demonstrate their ability to work as a team, because you are not going to be able to be a lone wolf on Mars and
Yes.
expect that to go real well for you.
Yeah.
This is not the way. I mean, this kind of segues well because we were just talking about Elon Musk. This is not the way he thinks this should be done
No.
at all.
No.
I mean, 100 people is not a colony. That's not even a small town in central BC for the most part, although there are some smaller ones than that. But that's not going to be like a functional society. It would. I don't know. It's certainly cool. I wouldn't apply to go, but
Apparently, younger me did.
would you apply to go now?
Not for Mars One. I'd be much more interested in Elon's implementation of it.
Right.
But Elon's implementation of it is very different than Mars One.
Right.
So yeah, and like, I don't know when or if that's even gonna happen. So that's also a completely different conversation. It's Elon, so I will never say it won't happen.
Right. Yeah, the Hyperloop, everyone reported, will not happen. Being worked on.
Yes.
So there's that.
Yeah. So I will. There's no way I'll say it won't happen, but it just looks not super crazy likely right now. That's all.
All right, so Tech Radar has, this is a pretty quick one, but basically an investigation into whether we should unplug our chargers at night. This is something a lot of people are really confused about, and justifiably so, because the guidance we get from manufacturers, in the quick start guide for your new cellular phone emulator.
This was posted by iHammy.
posted by iHammy on the forum, doesn't actually tell you what you're supposed to do. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. Like, oh, if you leave your phone plugged in, it overcharges your battery and ruins it. Actually, it doesn't. Any smart charger for any reasonably modern device is going to trickle charge once it reaches a full charge, which, while not perfect for your battery and not actually as good as simply charging it and letting it discharge to a reasonable level and then charging it again, while not as good as that, is not nearly as harmful with a lithium polymer or lithium ion battery as just continuing to charge it, which will nuke it right like that, and sometimes spectacularly too.
Yes.
Lithium is awesome. Yeah. Don't get wet. So basically, the article summarizes that the best time to charge your battery is after work. So after you've done the bulk of your use for the day, and then before you go to bed. So you can actually just leave it in standby or with your phone off on your nightstand while you are sleeping. That is the healthiest way.
More standby time and less plugged in time. Although, while that might be the best way to do it, I will never do it that way.
Yeah, it's not going to happen for me either.
Never. Not because I wouldn't be able to usually just have it plugged in that whole time, but because there's no chance in hell I'm going to risk my screen turning on and not turning off and then powering down in the middle of the night, not having my alarm going off.
Yeah, for people who use their phone as an alarm clock, any habit that isn't every day. So anything I don't do every day. I don't work every day. I can't make that a routine. But I do go to sleep every day. So if I plug in when I go to sleep, because the way that I work is on cues.
Yeah.
So I take my, I have a medication that I have to take every morning and every night. So I'm supposed to take it 12 hours apart. And for a while I was trying to do it based on meals. I'm supposed to take it with meals. Mostly for nausea.
Work for you.
But I eat so irregularly and all that stuff. So I'm just like, okay, I take it 16 hours and 8 hours apart when I wake up and when I go to sleep. And sometimes I go to sleep pretty late, so it's 4 hours apart. And that's going to have to be the way that it is. Fortunately, the way that med works is it actually doesn't even kick in for a couple weeks because it's more like it accumulates in your system. It's not personal or anything. So in case anyone's wondering, I'm on hydroxychloroquine, brand name Plaquenil. It's for rheumatoid arthritis. So I'm not. It's not like it's like I don't want people to be concerned. People get really worried about me sometimes. It's actually
he's got the AIDS.
It's kind of bizarre. No, not that so much. How do you know? It's not that so much. It's
I would know.
Wow. Wow. Anyway, you know what? This is a topic that I really want to talk about. This is awesome.
We've talked about this before.
We have talked about this.
There's a lot of topics in the doc this week that we've actually
this one was actually sent by a friend of mine, so we usually quote whoever referred us to it. And this was a badminton buddy of mine who used to coach me. And this was back before I had kids, right? Because he was coaching me to play badminton. Who has time for that? And we would often go, I never paid him for coaching.
Oh, this dude.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah, Billy. Yeah. So I never paid him for coaching, but I would just buy him food afterwards.
Yeah.
It was about equivalent to if I was, paying, $14, $15 an hour for coaching, and we'd go have a meal together and just kind of hang out. We were buddies, right? So, because I had friends. So this one time I'm talking to him and I'm like, you know what? What if is our older games really better? Are older video games better? Because I think they are. Yeah, I think Final Fantasy VI is the best Final Fantasy ever made. Is that only because of the date that I was born and how old I was when I played it? Was I at that magic age?
There's many arguments for that.
Yeah. Where I was old enough to appreciate that level of complexity and not so old that I was jaded, but not so young that I couldn't enjoy it.
And young enough to be super impressionable and all this kind of stuff.
And that's when that game came out. Is that why I think it's great? And he was like, yeah, probably. And I went, well, no, I legitimately think, having played it again later, that it is legitimately better than the ones that have come afterwards, with some being very good. Final Fantasy VII was pretty good. Final Fantasy IX was really good. And he kind of goes, no, I think it's just chance. So I was like, well, here's what I'm going to do. My kid is not going to be allowed to play the latest video games. He's not going to be allowed to play whatever comes out when he's age appropriate for its release date. I'm going to make him play older games, and then I'm going to find out if he appreciates them. If he appreciates the older games the same way I do, even if he plays new games while he's still young and has time to enjoy video games, because that's another really big thing too. I have a hard time getting the same enjoyment out of newer genres like MOBAs compared to ones that I was able to play extensively as a kid, like 2D platformers. Because I can pick up, a new Rayman game like that and be good at it. In the same way that a younger person like Luke might be able to pick up a new MOBA or a new MMO and be good at it. Stuff that I didn't invest the time into building the fundamental skills to be good at when I was younger and I had a lot more time. The way it is now, what's funny is, who was it? EA was getting a bunch of flack for saying that their games were too hard to pick up.
Really?
I can't remember who it was. Yeah, where they were saying like that the problem with games is that it's too hard to learn, and that's what keeps it from reaching a broader audience. I actually agree with that 100%. Not because I'm an idiot, not because I don't know how to, use a controller, not because I'm some kind of a chimpanzee, but because I have a really busy life.
I'm going to tangent off a little bit and then I'll let you keep going. Sorry.
Okay.
You know what had a really good tutorial?
Which one?
Shadow of Mordor.
It did.
I had to go through it again because of the thing that I'm doing.
But I will actually point out problems with even the Shadow of Mordor tutorial for someone like me. I had a hard time getting into Shadow of Mordor because I rarely have longer than about 30 to 45 minutes to sit down and spend with a game at a time. So that means my first play session was basically just the tutorial, and then the next couple of hours where they start to sprinkle things in was split up among another 2 or 3 play sessions. So I would be expected to know a mechanic 3 hours into the game that I literally haven't touched in 2 weeks. And that can be hard. And, I can figure it out, and there is a legend, and you can look stuff up online and all that stuff. But that doesn't change the fact that it makes it less accessible and less drop in and have fun the way that something like a racing game might be. Right. So anyway, this guy did it. And I love this guy.
The quotes from this dude are hilarious.
This guy is a hero.
Oh my god.
And so playing with my son, an experiment in forced nostalgia and questionable parenting. The guy talks about experimenting on children, some other thing. He wanted to convince his kid that he was living inside a computer simulation until his wife vetoed the idea. But this is fantastic. So I'm just gonna drop away from. So the article here is on Medium.com, and so over 10 years, this guy Andy Bio performed an experiment on his son. So this is the quote: "If you have a kid, why not run experiments on them? It's like running experiments on a little clone of yourself, and almost always probably legal." Wow, you are fantastic. So anyway, he didn't buy his kid the latest and greatest games, made him work his way to modernity, playing through the history of gaming starting with 1979's Galaxian. Calls it a decade-long experiment in forced nostalgia and questionable parenting meant to give his son an appreciation of older or cruder games that he otherwise may have dismissed as relics. I mean, it's no secret. If you drop someone into, WoW, okay? And they play that for a year, and then you're like, try to appreciate Zork. That's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, that's true.
And the dad didn't go quite as far back as text-based games, because even for, a pretty sort of nerdy kid, that kind of thing is probably going to be
games.
It's probably going to be a little tough, but if you're young, if the idea was to start him young playing games, like if you're like a 5-year-old, I don't think you're going to get much appreciation from a text-based game. So anyway, the result was that his son became very good at old and more difficult video games. So there's another quote from the article. "Elliot just beat the first Zelda entirely by himself. I only helped by showing him a map of Dungeon 9. That's my boy."
Which is actually that's pretty impressive. I know a lot of people right now that would just bail out hard.
And what's funny? What's funny about you saying that's impressive is that it's not.
I know.
Because a generation or two ago, there were 9-year-olds playing the first Zelda game, and that's why all those people are our age or older now, and look at modern games
I
and
said
go,
it's impressive because people quit too easily.
that's right.
Yeah.
It's impressive by today's standards, because, like, what driving game were we playing the other day where, like, we weren't looking and forgot to steer, and it's just the car stayed
Dirt
on
3?
the road? I don't remember which one it was.
I
but
know Dirt 3 does that, but yeah.
the point is, games have gotten trivially easy, and it looks like it is as simple as limiting exposure to modern easy games, and just kids can handle older games just fine. I may do the same thing. I may not
when we were talking about this a year ago, or whenever we talked about it, I told you should do this, and I totally agree. And like, I already save and collect old games. I know you'll probably do that thing that is possible, but if you need stuff, I have like ColecoVisions, and I would fuel this, and I would be so entertained by watching this process go down.
I am thinking of setting up, you know, those two little rooms I have beside my office? You know how there's a bigger one?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of setting up, like, the retro gaming lounge there.
Awesome.
So I need to get, like, an awesome big CRT.
Yeah.
And I need to get my hand. There's some stuff that I'm just gonna have to actually obtain, like a duck hunt light gun and stuff like that.
Those are easy.
Yep. Oh, I know they're
Yeah,
easy to get,
yeah.
but I'll just have to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I think some people might misinterpret this article and kind of go, oh, can we straw poll this? Should Linus make his kid play through historical games before playing modern games?
If people say no, they're butts.
Well, we're supposed to let them answer before we tell them
Your
their
butts.
Oh, crying out loud.
If you say no. If not, you're very attractive butts.
So some people... Not a chunky butt, you know? So some people might misinterpret this as, it's not like he has to
Unless
play
that's what you want.
every game, you know? It's not like you made him play every game, but I think the idea was to cover different genres, you know, not necessarily be locked into whatever's popular right now, whatever, you know, encouraging, bejeweled, stupid thing, but, you know, start with something that insults you when you die, you know, and is legitimately difficult, and just have an appreciation for different genres and the way that they changed over time. You don't have to play every game. The idea would just be over a period of time, would be like, okay, you know, you're 6, so this is NES year. And all you can play is, you know, here's the NES games I have. You can play some Blades of Steel, you could play some whatever else. And then maybe 1 year later, you get a Super NES and a Genesis or whatever.
So I don't think that's how he did it, though.
No, he did...
This was the original idea we had, yeah.
Yeah, so he actually locked in the titles.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it would probably be more like, here's your console, here's the era that you exist in, and here's a bunch of games. You can play whatever you like.
What about PC then?
PC, yeah, no problem with that. But we would go by release years. So we would maybe go with like an accelerated
so
schedule.
Like brackets or whatever. So if he had a SNES, you'd give him the bracket that the SNES existed for, I guess.
Yeah. So any
it'd be
PC
easier
game
to
from that
go
era.
buy the console, but then just give the PC games from that era at the same time. Because like playing Orcs vs. Humans and stuff like that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think that would
Getting
be
stomped on by the AI.
The thing about the AI wasn't good; it just cheated.
Yeah,
it cheated so hard. And you know, Orcs versus Humans was a funny one. Like I ended up one time on a mission map where it actually got to the end of the game and neither of us had an offensive unit left, and all the resources on the map were depleted. Because the units were so equivalent that you could literally, you know, fire, you know, your last 2 catapult volleys, eliminate each other's armies, and it's just, it's a stalemate. There was no real tactical remaneuvering, so it was really tough. Can you send me that straw poll so I can screencast it? But yeah, I think I'm going to do it, and it's not like my wife's going to care. You posted in Twitch chat?
Yeah.
Oh, can you get it? Oh, you missed it.
Why are you right-clicking?
I got this. All right, so here's the results from the straw poll for whether I should make my kid experience gaming chronologically.
So basically, super yes.
Yes, attractive butts, and 11% of you are ugly butts. Okay.
Yeah. So attractive butts is literally just yes.
Is literally yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was not paying attention to how you were structuring this poll. I see that you've taken the mature road to its
You always
creation.
put in like banana and stuff. What do you want me to do?
Banana at least leaves it to the imagination, little.
Yeah. I should have put yes, no, attractive butts, ugly butts.
Ugly butts, yes.
Yeah.
Or just left out no entirely and made them click ugly butts.
Yes, and ugly butts. There we go.
All right, so I guess now is actually a pretty good time for us to do our sponsor messages.
Which one's first?
So did Nick even manage to?
No,
Okay, well,
no, remember
okay.
it's the thing.
Yeah, let's
which
start
will
with.
hopefully work. Nope, because the drive letter changed.
Oh, did it now?
Yeah.
Okay,
You
well,
can drive it in though, or
the drive is not working.
Oh, is that? Oh.
Does the front USB not even work?
That's maybe. There's two in there though, so one of them might, and the other one might not.
All right, so I'll do another topic in the meantime, I guess, or something like that, in order to sort of try to seem like this show is somewhat professionally run. Yeah, that was never a thing. All right,
No.
so this is a WCCFTech rumor, and it was posted by GPU Expert on the forum, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy the link myself since Luke is currently indisposed. And basically, there's actually I'm going to kind of riff off of this one because there's some stuff about in this article, and there's some stuff that's just kind of been floating around lately. But Fiji XT R9 390X rumored to be coming with it's working now. Rumored to be coming with a Cooler Master liquid cooler, so it will be water cooled out of the box, just like AMD's previous dual GPU solution. That to me is some pretty crazy stuff and
That is pretty nuts.
Pretty indicative of the thermals of AMD's upcoming flagship, which is terrifying. I mean, we know that they couldn't shrink the process yet much enough. I don't know. I thought this was going to be shrunk.
Can their press event be in a volcano this time?
You know what? I actually can't. I can't remember. I can't remember if this is supposed to be a. If this is supposed to be a smaller chip or not. Someone's going to correct me, so we'll figure all that out when the time comes. But basically, here we go. So here's a look at, so here's the leaked R9 390X shroud right there, so you can actually see the gap right there for the liquid cooling solution. It's also rumored that AIB, so Add-in Board partners, will be able to make their own solutions that do not involve... so this is the existing 295X2, I believe. So they'll be able to make their own solutions that do not involve liquid cooling, although you're going to need a case with like pretty great ventilation for something like that. We've got rumored specs. That is some fast memory. Yes. Double the memory throughput of R9 290X, which was already a 512-bit beast of a card with 4096 stream processor. I mean, it's looking pretty amazing. But the other rumor floating around right now is that everything under the 390 level, so like the 380X, 380, is going to be rebadged.
No.
Had you heard this?
No.
Yeah, this is all rumor right now, but it is rumored that 380X will just be rebadged to 90X-ish. Maybe clock speed bumps.
Right.
That is some scary stuff. So AMD is going to have potentially a 300 series time frame lineup that has several generations of GCN architecture, all as current products. That is terrifying. I mean, what does that say about AMD's R&D budget and how it's doing right now? Because they have cards that are literally well over 2 years old that are still part of their current lineup, and if those get recycled again, that is some scary stuff.
That's kind of nasty.
Because the costs only go down so much if you don't shrink down the manufacturing process or make the PCB design less complex. So if AMD has like mid-tier, $200 grade cards that have like 384-bit memory buses, these are complicated PCBs. It means you have to at least have X number of memory chips in order to even populate the whole thing. You have Yeah. That's some scary stuff.
It is a rumor.
The good news is 390X according to the rumors, looks like it's going to be an absolute beast, and if you want a best of the best card, it's going to look pretty competitive. But we also don't know anything about Titan X or Titan 2 or anything like that in terms of its gaming performance. So we're going to have to wait and have a look at this heavyweight showdown. What we do know is that if it's Maxwell based, it's going to be very power efficient and will not need a liquid cooler.
Yes.
So yes.
Very much so. Try number 2.
Yeah. So let's try this again. So today's show brought to you by lynda.com.
Yay.
Now completely free of logos except for the ones that we make ourselves. So that's Luke doing his. Oh yeah.
Glasses.
Oh, I don't have them. Oh, you can have these ones. You're like the cool lynda.com, as if lynda.com wasn't cool enough already. Lynda makes learning cool. We should just make our own slogans for all of our sponsors and like draw our own logos in MS Paint now that YouTube has cracked down on creators including the logos of their sponsors in lower thirds and like splash cards and stuff like that. So guys, lynda.com is a great way to learn online at your own pace. The plans are extremely affordable. All you got to do is head over to the website. They've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of video courses available and videos from leading industry experts and all this kind of stuff. It's very digestible and you don't have any kind of like set schedule. You must tune into this webinar now and then you must wait until the next one after you do your homework or whatever. With a 10-day trial, you can have as much as you can eat on lynda.com and you can teach yourself all kinds of cool stuff like coding or, picking up new photography skills, software suites that you may or may not have a lot of experience for. There's lots of stuff, everything from beginner all the way up to brushing up for people who are pretty experienced in applications like Photoshop or Adobe Premiere. Lots of great stuff on lynda.com, and we have actually a couple of employees here, 3 I think, that use lynda.com obtained skills daily in their jobs at Linus Media Group. So we are huge fans of lynda.com. We've also got our second sponsor. Is this the right one?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this one? Okay, our second sponsor, not Luke, this time iFixit. We managed to actually cover up the right part of it. So do you want to crack open the ProTech toolkit? And I think there's actually like a media file that I'm supposed to play. Oh, okay, well...
That's on the...
This is the way better version of what you were about to try and do live. So iFixit has great guides online for how to take apart and, most importantly, repair your electronic gizmos, whether they're phones or all-in-one computers like we actually did recently with the iMac Retina 5K, where we used an iFixit guide in order to take it apart and try to perform some upgrades. I did successfully perform some of the upgrades. Oh no, we can't have those anymore. Those aren't allowed to be there. Oops, hopefully no one catches us for that. Well, there was an iFixit logo, so at any rate, we also use our ProTech toolkits just all the time. They are super handy. They've got a screwdriver with a bazillion bits, including like weirdo, obscure stuff like security bits and like security Torxes. Stuff like tri-wings for taking apart Nintendo stuff, and they have lots of other specialty tools as well, including things like the adhesive strips that you need to put your stuff back together, little specialized things. Do you have my little roller? No, you don't have that one. So all kinds of little things for like picking and prodding at stuff. It comes with an X-Acto. I didn't even know there's an X-Acto knife in there.
These are really, really helpful, actually. What is their official name? I call them Mac tools.
Can't remember what they're called, but they're just like little plastic pry tools. This is how you don't break the fasteners on your laptop when you're opening it up, for example.
Yes, a lot of people do that.
So iFixit.com, use offer code WANSHOW03 to save $10 off a purchase of $50 or more. Great resource for how to fix your stuff, and then they also sell the tools that you need to fix your stuff. It's a great little business they got going on over there.
It makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
Look, this is how you can do it yourself at home. Also, you can get these things so you can do it yourself at home.
And it's still cheaper.
Yeah.
That was the math that I ran in my head when I first bought my ProTech toolkits. I was like, okay, it will cost me this much to just buy a tri-wing screwdriver and like one other tool, or it'll cost me like twice that much
To get all of them.
To get all of them, because the shipping, if you buy these things individually, is so expensive.
Yeah.
If you live in Canada, anyway. And then our final sponsor today, also with the...
smallest logo ever.
The smallest logo ever, Squarespace.com. So if you guys aren't already familiar with Squarespace, wow, you must not watch our show a lot, because Squarespace is... You know what's funny is the last night I was helping my neighbor. Okay, so he comes over and he's like, I'm taking this online course from this micro. He makes electronic solar powered electronic scoreboards. Yeah, I know, right? Bizarre. He runs the business out of his garage. I can't relate. So anyway, he's learning a new microcontroller.
Okay.
And so we kind of get to chatting, and he's like, yeah, so they do these web-based tutorials, and I want to record them so I can view them later. I'm like, oh. Well, I'll use my affiliate XSplit code to get you hooked up with, so you can screen capture that region and play it back for yourself later. And then he starts talking about his son who wants a website built, and he kind of goes, "Do you know anyone who builds websites?" And I kind of laughed to myself, because I went, "That is such an old way to think about creating a website. Do I know someone who makes websites?" Because almost anyone can do it with Squarespace.com. So Squarespace, wow.
It's space and it's in a square.
So Squarespace's mission statement appears to be to make the web beautiful and easier to use. They've got 24/7 tech support. They've got a ton of great templates that allow you to make a website for yourself or for other people easily without resorting to like finding some super expensive person to set up some super basic thing for you. No, Squarespace handles all that. With your reasonable monthly fee, they even include the hosting, and the plans are scalable. So depending on how your business or your blog or whatever else it is you're trying to create scales, it will be able to match the demand that you have. Speaking of scaling, it works just great on desktops, mobile devices. What's that called? Responsive design? Something? Yeah, responsive design. So depending on how you're viewing it, it will scale up and down. And what else can I say about Squarespace? That basically it's good. It's like the right way to make a website these days.
You talking about their image partnership thing yet?
No, they don't talk about that much anymore, but yeah, they have a partnership with Getty Images, so even if you can't take beautiful photos to, make your website look all spiffy, you can get them very reasonably. Actually, stock photos are really expensive.
Yeah.
Like, not cheap. And it's like, it really does seem like half of what Squarespace does to make their customers' lives easier is also just for their own selfish agenda. It's like, we partnered with Getty Images so you could put better images on your Squarespace sites, so people don't have Squarespace sites that are ugly, because we want them all to look really good. So please just do this. They even have their little logo creator tool. All good stuff. So visit squarespace.com if you or anyone you know needs to create a website and wants it to look good, be easy, and be fast. And use offer code Linus to save 10% on your first purchase. So, Sprint has spoken up in support of Title II. What?
I didn't see this in the dark. Is Sprint an ISP?
Well, they do mobile internet. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man. Some of the FCC's new initiatives would involve Title II for mobile broadband as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Sprint. You know what's funny is I used to have Sprint as an ISP back in the dial-up days, but I don't know if they do that anymore.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and like that was in Canada.
I don't know. Yeah.
Sprint.ca, man. Long distance plans that are affordable. I can't remember what their slogan was.
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember the pin drop though.
Yes.
That was like their thing, right?
No, I remember that, but they're not really a thing anymore.
So Sprint has basically spoken up and said, we need it to be light touch. We're not looking for heavy-handed regulation or anything, but that, it didn't seem to hurt the phone business. So that was good for us when we got into that. And that seems to have inspired competition. So, as long as we're not looking at heavy-handed regulations, this is not going to affect our investment into infrastructure.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So that's cool. So this is in the wake of T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T all claiming that it's going to be a problem. So Sprint has officially broken ranks and is like, nope, we will continue to invest in data networks regardless of whether they're regulated by Title II, Section 706. Very cool. So the original article here, this was posted by Spartaman64. Did you post this already?
Nope.
Original article here was from Ars Technica. I love Ars Technica. What a great site. Their writers are good.
Yeah. I do like ours as well.
Bloop. There were some really good quotes in here. Regardless of the legal grounds proposed, Sprint has emphasized repeatedly that net neutrality rules must give mobile carriers the flexibility to manage our networks and to differentiate our services in the market. So Sprint's not saying, yes, we will offer only one speed to all of our customers and it will all be unlimited. They're saying we still need to be able to, have, if you go over a certain data limit, we might have to throttle you in order to manage our network and manage the load to provide the best experience to the bulk of our customers as we can, because mobile data in particular is really not as simple as, throwing in some new switches at the hub and adding more capacity. I mean, it is an extremely expensive rollout, and the capacity is limited in a much harder ceiling sort of way compared to something where your fiber installation could be X deep into the double digits percentage dark fiber that's not even being used yet, where there is literally almost no cost to just turning on more of it. So I totally get it, and I think they couldn't be reached for comment by Ars when they asked to clarify what they mean by managing their networks and differentiating their services, but I kind of get it, and I think I have a pretty good idea what they mean by that. And I think the fact that they're coming out and saying this publicly is pretty positive. So cool. Good on you, Sprint. I'm not saying everything you do is great. I'm just saying this
specifically was very cool.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this was posted by Pras Dupac, and the original article here is from wallstreetjournal.com. And apparently we're getting more and more leaks. This is not that customary for an Apple product launch, for us to get people internally who are talking about the development process and the challenges.
Everything's been weird since Jobs has passed away.
Well, this is a real weird situation.
This is very weird.
There are some allegedly sort of, I'm sorry, I'm not screen sharing right now. There are some allegedly inside sources claiming that originally the Apple Watch was intended to be more of like a multifunctional health monitoring device with sensors for heart activity, blood pressure, stress levels, and all kinds of things that Apple wanted to monitor with the watch. But over time, the sensors weren't accurate enough. They had problems with hairy people or people with dry skin not getting good readings. There were challenges with potential regulatory issues, like if Apple's going to sell a device that claims to make you healthier, all of a sudden they have to deal with, I believe it's the FDA. Sorry, I'm not American, so I try to keep up with
that might make sense.
Yeah, the Food and Drug Administration or other regulators, if they're going to make claims like, helps you monitor your heart health. Like all of a sudden, that could be a disaster. I don't know how I had a cardiac arrest. I was wearing my Apple Watch at the time, and the battery died because Apple's internal battery targets look abominable. But that's just me injecting my own editorial.
Let me just be weird. You keep talking. I'm just going to solve a problem.
Oh,
keep going.
Is that like happening right now?
Yes, it is. The whole you were supposed to keep talking. That was supposed to be unobtrusive.
Oh yeah, whatever. No, it's okay. My people are adding me on Steam friends, and I'm gonna completely ignore all of them the same way that I have been.
There's an ignore all button.
Yeah, I know.
It's beautiful.
But I usually don't do it because you know what happens is if you let it sit for long enough, your friends' request list actually fills up. It maxes out. And so the only reason that I ignore all a while ago, and the reason people are able to do this right now, is that I tried to legitimately add someone to my Steam friends not that long ago.
Yes. Yeah.
You were there that night. I think I added Josh or something. Yeah. So anyway, what else we got here? So the Wall Street Journal source describes the 4-year watch project as a black hole that sucked in resources from elsewhere in the company. Features like measuring blood oxygen levels and blood pressure are said to have only been shelved, so it's possible we'll see this in future iterations. But for now, I really do believe the Apple Watch is going to be, the first generation is just going to be a complete stopgap solution. different from any other stopgap solution. Like the iPad 1 was actually kind of a stopgap solution. Like if you look at it compared to any other iPad, it had the shortest shelf life, I believe. I'm doing this off the top of my head. It had an extremely short shelf life. It was discontinued much more abruptly than other Apple iPads that have continued to exist, even with their successors available in the market since then. And they dropped support for it extremely quickly compared to iPad 2. Like it was a bit of a redheaded stepchild, even though it was the one that created the tablet category as it is today.
As it is today, yes. Yep.
As it is today. Oh no, I know tablets existed before that, but the Apple Watch looks very different to me. It looks like with the iPad, it was like, yeah, we did the best we could, and we're like pretty sure this is pretty good, and it's going to be like a better way to browse the internet and with your fingers and stuff. With the watch, it really does look like we just kind of have to release something.
Yeah. It doesn't seem very Apple. A lot of things Apple's been doing lately doesn't seem very Apple. I'm conflicted on Apple right now because I really like things in terms of the security and stuff that they have on their phones. The security, the app support, the camera that they have on their phones.
Camera's really good.
But then I dislike things like some of the design choices that were made, which are super stupid, and then just different directions that Apple's going in right now. But then Google is doing way worse, in my opinion. So then, like, what one do I actually follow right
Windows Phone.
Oh, I wish it was better.
I really wish it was better.
I really want to like Windows Phone.
I have taken so much crap for the stuff that I say about Windows Phone. And you know what's funny is when Windows Phone eventually gets good and I switch to it, people are going to be like, whoa, blah, blah, blah.
I guess back in the day when you hammered on it? Oh my god.
Yeah, I hammered on it because it was terrible. It was a terrible, terrible ecosystem. And that's not to say Windows Phone is terrible. Terrible ecosystem. Yeah. Because it's just bad. And people can go, oh, well, you can do this and you can do that. That's nice. You can. But I'm not going to invest that kind of time into doing stuff that I can do in like 4 seconds on an Apple or an Android device.
I got super excited when I heard the Ubuntu phone was coming out. And
that just, like, where did that even go? Did that just disappear?
No, there's a new thing.
Oh, there's a new thing.
There's a phone actually coming out, but it's not going to be anything like that original one that they announced.
Right.
It's like a super cheap, like, very cheap phone.
Oh, I remember that project. Yeah, that totally died. I really wanted to try Ubuntu Phone.
Like badass sapphire glass one?
No, I just wanted to try the OS. Brandon brought in his Galaxy Nexus S specifically for me to install Ubuntu on it because I wanted to try it out, and then I kind of never got around to it, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's probably going to be bad.
It's probably...
But, like...
Could you be slightly more negative? I was just thinking I needed more negativity in my life. You know? So could you just...
This company sucks. This one sucks.
This show sucks.
I would like this one, but it sucks.
I hate this show.
This one's interesting, but it sucks. Oh, whatever.
I wish my coworkers weren't such buttheads.
Attractive buttheads.
This is great.
Oh my god, someone made me the logo.
Wow. Can you link me that?
I'll retweet it.
Oh wow. Okay, we got to show you guys this. We are taking a break in the middle of the show to show you guys this because
this is great.
It is awesome.
Oh man.
Do I have to sign in order to search for things on Twitter?
Oh, I don't know.
That's okay. I'll just do it. Not a big deal.
If I right click and go view image, I could. Yeah,
this is amazing. Where did it go? I just saw it. Oh, okay.
That's it.
My Twitter feed moves too fast. Here it is.
Yeah, there you go. If you click on it, it'll give you a better...
That's fantastic.
There you go.
So someone recreated the lynda.com logo with Luke as the Lynda mascot. I absolutely love it. I wonder if we'd be allowed to use this.
It's not their logo.
We should ask Lynda, though. Like, we should ask Lynda if they'll let us use...
We should. I was bringing this up earlier. If we did like kind of funny recreations of all the logos, like I was talking to Nick.
Some of them would be tough.
For Dollar Shave Club, I don't remember what it is crossing, but it's a cross.
Razor blade. It's razors.
Yeah. So if I just held 2 razors and went like this.
Oh my goodness.
Or if we like 3D printed 2 really big razors, and then took a photo of them.
That could probably work. Like
because it's not really their logo.
No, it's not. we're gonna start something here, and then we're gonna draw a bunch of attention from Google that we don't even want.
We're gonna be the martyrs that we don't want to be.
Yeah. All right, so posted by FNOT on the forum, CogniToys huggable dinosaur is connected to IBM's Watson supercomputer.
Imagine Dollar Shave Club sponsored Wolverine. Sorry, keep going.
Okay, I do want to play this video because this thing is hilarious. So let me just. I hope the volume works. Hold on, my system sound is muted. Just a sec.
Hi, my name is Lily.
Oh. Okay, hold on. Okay, I think I've got the wrong audio device set. Give me just a second here. Don't worry, I will get this sorted out.
So is it supposed to sound like a dinosaur? Because that sounded very aggressive.
Hold on. I'm on this. Okay, can you just not? Like, can we just? What is XSplit Stream Audio Renderer? Okay, everyone just calm down. Okay, I think it's working now. Okay. This thing's voice. The sound of this dinosaur thing is like some scary stuff. Now, to be clear, this was actually clarified in the article. To be clear, the voice is supposed to sound more Cookie Monster-like in person. But right now, it's just like, I'm going to murder you. Like, it really sounds awful.
Oh my god.
Basically, it's a smart toy. It's on Kickstarter. It's going to be $100. I'm actually thinking of funding it just so I can get my hands on one and play with it, because this tickles my techie.
I love that kind of stuff.
My parent techie sort of.
I love things that you can talk to.
And the idea is that it'll use machine learning to interact with children. So it'll be little plastic monsters that communicate with the Watson supercomputer to basically answer questions and interact. So you push a large button on the belly, ask a question, and Green Dino will come back with the answer. And so Elemental Path's pitch here is that as your child ages, the toy will monitor their progress and ask more sophisticated questions and provide more detailed answers when it is dialoguing with them.
Cool.
Now, to be clear, IBM's involvement in the project is purely to let the company connect to Watson.
Yep.
Like, they're not actually developing this. It's just, we got this supercomputer. Yeah, this is a way that we could maybe make money off of it if people wanted to like use it for stuff. So that's pretty much it. So I have about as much hope for this product as I do anything else on Kickstarter, which is about this much. But who knows? Might be great. Might be terrible. And I don't know. I might try it out just like because. Like I wonder how old of a child it would think I am.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
oh my goodness, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, like
how old are you in dino calculated years?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It looks pretty cool.
Becomes the new IQ test.
Yeah, really, right? Let's talk DNA storage. This is really cool. So this is posted by System32 on the forum. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the National Geographic article here.
I think that's a first.
Look at.
That's probably a first.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever posted anything from National Geographic.
Nat Geo's awesome.
So this is just one of the aspects of the article.
It's gonna be a good photo when it has that little yellow rectangle.
Yeah, man.
Anyways.
All right. So well-preserved specimen pushes back the timing of modern horse evolution. Basically,
Basically, they were able to read DNA data from a 700,000-year-old horse bones, which is pretty freaking intense. And that's actually, I don't know how related that really was, because they're able to sequence that genetic code. I think that's maybe a proof that if they were to store this stuff, they would be able to access it way later in the future.
Right.
I think that's actually more part of the whole point. They're calculating that 1 gram of DNA, which is actually a lot, but 1 gram of DNA would be capable of holding 455 exabytes, which is insane.
So here's the sciencealert.com article that actually talks about what they did with using DNA to store data, subjecting it to some pretty rigorous environmental and aging testing. So they've actually got it contained within, what is it, like tiny micro glass?
150 nanometers.
150 nanometer glass capsules.
Diameter, 150 nanometers in diameter.
To keep them safe. And they figure they could preserve the world's data for millions of years. How many exabytes in 1 gram of DNA?
It's 455, which is pretty insane. They do it by coding A and C pairs of DNA as binary 0 and T and G pairs as 1. So they can, you're essentially putting huge amounts of binary, which is kind of what's always happening, so that's not too surprising.
Now, to be clear, this is not affordable technology. So the 83 kilobytes of data that they encoded for the study cost around $1,500 US.
And you wouldn't be able to use it as like a hard drive or an SSD. This is not... Stuff is specifically encoded onto this and then hoped that you would be able to specifically take it off later, not like you can actively use it for read writes.
Yeah, like the DNA inside the glass spheres would be extracted using a fluoride solution. It's not like you just, drop some haploid cells into your computer there and you've expanded your hard drive. That would just make a mess.
I'm hoping that eventually we're going to have biological hard drives to some degree, because I think that could be pretty crazy cool, but this is not it. But this could be extremely large, extremely long-term data storage. So if people were to back up like a library, that could be super cool. Or back up like the current state of the public internet, that could be super cool. Stuff like that. Time capsule kind of stuff could be really cool. But it's not a hard drive.
Wow, this stream, like, people are all over the place. Some people are just seeing, like, my chat just saw the dino video link.
Your chat could be behind.
And then some people in chat are commenting on what I just said with the haploid cell joke. That some people, I was hoping some people would get that. That's why I was looking at chat. Okay, so MegaNet. This was posted by Nardar on the forum, and the original article here is from thehackernews.com. So I'm going to let you mostly handle...
Are you going to let me mostly handle Nardar?
Oh,
what are you doing?
Did my output bork again? Okay, well, here, you want to talk about this in the meantime while I try to fix this feed?
You can't have your email open, man.
No.
Anyways, Kim.com is jumping on the whole kind of private internet style stuff, just like a couple other projects have.
Their own internet.
There's Made Safe, Project Maelstrom, and ZeroNet are a couple other examples. So they're all just like peer-to-peer networking, hosted websites stuff. So you're still using internet infrastructure for the most part. Or entirely, but you'd be able to do it peer-to-peer. What's kind of cool about a lot of these is, I don't remember what country this is going down on right now, and I'm not going to be able to bring up this article right now, but a lot of people are having issues having internet at all, so people are running their own lines.
North Korea.
Secretly? North Korea?
No.
I don't think
you
so.
said people having trouble having internet at all, so I said North Korea.
No, I don't think it's North Korea, but either way. I'm pretty sure it's not North Korea.
No, it's not.
But
it's not at all.
Anyways, they're running their own lines and creating their own kind of internet with their own websites, their own game servers, which people can connect to and play on. Like, it's actually pretty sick what's going down. I don't remember where the country is. You can try to look it up. It's a cool article. Anyways, so he's trying to make it's going to use...
Trying to make that mainstream?
More so, you don't have to run your own lines. This would run on the internet, but you're kind of encrypting things using the blockchain that was used for Bitcoin. There's no more IP addresses because it's using the blockchain that was used for Bitcoin. I suggest looking up how the blockchain works if you want to understand how that makes any sense. And it's not actually a super complicated idea. It's just a different way of having websites on the internet. You'd be utilizing stuff like the bandwidth and the storage on your phone,
right?
Because it would be distributed all over the place, peer-to-peer style network. Very much so phone, although not exclusively phone. A lot of what he's talking about is the data on your phone, which you probably have excess of, which is not that surprising because you probably actually do, and the storage on your phone, which he's saying probably have excess of, but I'm not super agreeing with. I don't really think so.
The fact that 16 gig phones still exist at all is just...
Before I reformatted my
horrendous.
phone, I couldn't do anything with it. I'd take a photo and it'd be like, max capacity, and I didn't have that much stuff. I had like 2 or 3 self-taken videos. a very small library of songs of like stuff that I saw while I was traveling. Not. Damn it!
Some, like really cool diseases that you acquired while you were
Whoa!
traveling.
Whoa!
How do you take a video of a disease? Oh, I can imagine how.
Oh. Anyways, yeah, it's not a super new idea, but it's Kim.com doing it, so it might actually become a big thing instead of not. Which
Well,
is cool.
Maelstrom is the BitTorrent guys, so like.
Yeah.
Yeah, then again, BitTorrent Sync hasn't exactly completely taken over,
like
Dropbox's.
like it probably should have.
You
but
know,
it's
it's
not.
funny. Again, I'm gonna bring up my neighbor again because last night I was helping him with this thing. He's kind of like an older guy, and he was telling me about his. He was telling, yeah, I'll bring that up later. He was telling me about his his setup. He's got like mostly older computers. Like he has like this guy is like crazy technical in ways that I'm not. Like he built his own CNC, and I'm just like, that's cool. And then the idea of like I mentioned a NAS because he just has all his computers like not networked to each other, and whenever he needs to store something longer term, he pulls out a terabyte. That's what he calls an external hard drive. And I'm just like, wow. So like I'm looking past Dropbox for how I can control my cloud storage myself and use my NAS as like a cloud device. And like there's people that haven't even got like the idea of central storage, like technical
storage,
smart people who are like scratch building. Like he scratch builds the entire electronic scoreboard, sources solar panels, CNC cuts all the metal components, welds them, programs the microcontroller that controls the solar panel charging and controls the functionality of the board, and builds this crap in his garage. And the guy has like never heard of the idea of a NAS. And I'm like, how do we reach these kids? Anyway.
How do we reach these kids?
Mediatek of all people, showing off 480 FPS 1080p video. The article here is from nextpowerup.com. 480 FPS video.
His laptop's being a butt.
Yeah, sorry.
Not an attractive butt.
I'll have the right thing up in a second here. With
Very
their
venomous butt.
with their upcoming.
What the?
There we go. Okay, so there we go. Super slow motion 1080p video with their upcoming, what is this, an 8 cores clocked at 2.2 gigahertz. Now remember, gigahertz is not important. That actually is completely meaningless. But check this out. Like, I wouldn't have figured it's going to be Mediatek pushing things forward in terms of the processing power required for super slow motion video capture. So here we go. So 1/16th speed. Of course, this is all totally simulated. Oh, that's 1/4 speed. So it's 120 FPS.
Yeah, this is hardcore.
480 FPS. Dat slow mo. Now, this was obviously not captured on a phone.
Yeah.
Simulated imagery. You can see all the depth of field that would not be present on a phone in the image. But the point is, if it can do this at all,
that's still pretty freaking cool.
who knows? And I mean, the thing is that we've gotten to the point where the CPU in your phone is pretty darn fast. And is it worth spending an extra, like a flagship phone is going to be $600, $700, $800 plus dollars, depending on your storage configuration. If you can get a phone for a couple $100 with a MediaTek chipset, that might start to look pretty compelling. I mean, there's still value adds to high-end phones. Things like because there's more to it than just you got an image sensor and like a fast processor. You actually have to do a lot of software work to make a phone camera good.
Yeah.
But man, the hardware is getting pretty terrifyingly cheap. DirectX 12, this is posted by Rafi on the forum. Original article here is from Tweaktown. Reportedly treats multiple GPUs, and we're back to
Every Tweaktown has autoplay stuff.
Yeah, not like I can screen share it anyway because it's
Herpader.
losing it every time.
Okay, what article is this? Where did you go?
I just did the next one. It's up. There we go. Can treat multiple GPUs as a single. There we go. As a single entity. So this is not actually that new, as far as I know. So
no.
Pooled memory could be a thing, and
AMD was doing this.
And basically perfect scaling could be a thing.
So as we
summary.
super hardcore, we're like, this is definitely going to happen to everyone. I guess now it's officially going to definitely happen to everyone.
It's officially going to be easy, apparently.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it. So Brad Wardell, the CEO of Stardock, tweeted that they did a test of DirectX 11 versus DirectX 12 on an unreleased GPU. With an 8-core CPU, and DirectX 11 managed 13 FPS, with DirectX 12 managing 120
What is
FPS.
Stardock even still doing?
Lighting and lens effects were apparently cited as one of the reasons why DirectX 12 performed much better. So one thing it does make is it easy to treat multiple GPUs as a single GPU. All right, so we're into our quick fire topics here. This one's from Kit Guru, posted by Rohith Kumar SP. And Sony to launch smart glasses in March. They look absolutely abominable.
Yeah.
This will not be the savior that Sony is likely looking for their
God, that looks bad.
company. It has a single color green display. It's like, what is this?
We're going
80s?
back to yeah.
It's going to cost £520 in the UK and $840 in the US. It will use augmented reality to place an image in your field of view. In the center, it's going to have 85% opacity, so you'll be able to see through it.
I wonder why they're not calling it holograms.
Sorry, I said 85% opacity. Transparency, only 15% opacity.
85% opacity would have been so bad.
I wear my sunglasses with augmented reality at night, so I can
see things that are very high resolution.
Crash my car
only in
into
green.
the bridge all day, and I don't even care.
I crashed my car into the bridge, and then I let it burn.
So the resolution of the screen is a totally impressive
car.
419 by 138, and
Care.
you'll be pairing it to a phone with KitKat 4.4 or later. Android.
Gonna be garbage. Still want to check it out,
Nobody should
though.
buy it.
I still want to check it out.
Sony
they bring it to CES or something.
Sony invested $842,000 to buy 2% of SMP, a Japanese startup making self-driving cars. So this was posted by Numlock on the forum.
I believe it's ZMP.
Whatever. Sony joins self-driving car chase, blippity bloopity. So basically the point of all of this is that Sony wants to leverage one of the business units where they actually are a market leader, which is imaging sensors. So it's no secret Sony is pretty good at that stuff, and they figure that self-driving cars are going to need a whole heck of a whack ton of them over the next 5 to
So Sony's like,
20
holy
years.
crap, if we market this properly, we might not go bankrupt.
Yeah, this could actually save the things that we want to do that are not this.
Yeah.
Neil Young's $400 high-def music player. This was posted by Victoria's Secret on the forum. I think saying loses to Apple's iPhone in blind audio test is a very sensationalist and
it's just not better, right?
Apple biased headline, appleinsider.com. That is actually not how it went down. The original article is from CNET, although I'm showing the appleinsider.com one. And what actually happened is people couldn't tell the difference conclusively enough to pass a blind taste test.
Yes.
That is how it works. I forget what the numbers are because I don't stare at this stuff all day.
So it's not necessarily better. It's not that it was
people could not
worse.
consistently enough conclusively tell the difference between the $400 Pono player and the iPhone 6. Something that I could have told you guys, but David Pogue, former professional musician over at did I say CNET? I'm sorry, I meant Yahoo Tech. That was terrible. I'm sorry. Yahoo Tech. So it wasn't the most scientific test, but he did set it up reasonably well. And it wasn't ABX, but it was blind A/B testing. And he had, I think, just over a dozen, like 14 people, including self-professed audiophiles, come in and try to tell the difference between them. And more people did select the iPhone 6. as the winner. But the way that a blind test works is I think you have to be able to tell 90% of the time or something in order for it to be considered that you could tell. So that's not good
because
enough.
random guessing could cause serious issues with statistics, and it does cause serious issues with statistics.
This is cool. GamingTheater.net. This was originally posted by Mystical on the forum. Zelda Wii U's open world is apparently as large as the system can handle.
This was like, when I first saw this topic, I was like, that's not new information. What? This was highly hinted towards, like very freakishly highly hinted towards. They basically said it, but I guess now they officially said it. When they were first announcing the game, they were like, yeah, we weren't able to properly do this with Wind Waker. That's why there was islands and stuff. And now there won't be. And we're going to use as much as we can. And now it's like, it's going to use as much as it can. I don't know. This isn't really new news. That's basically what I was trying to say.
I mean, what's exciting about it to me is that Nintendo is treating, large explorable worlds seriously again.
Yeah.
I mean, we got away from that. Again, it always comes back to Final Fantasy VI for me. That world was massive and had a lot to explore, and that was like SNES days. Like if I was gonna create a Christmas wish list of what I want RPG makers to invest their dev time in, it wouldn't necessarily be fancy graphics. It would be lots of NPCs that I can interact with and lots of cool stuff that I can explore, because that is what makes that kind of game fun.
You did like Oblivion, right?
Yeah, I did like Oblivion.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, well, why don't you play? And then I was like, wait.
Because I lost my save game.
Yeah.
Way to rub some salt in that wound.
Yep, I forgot.
Jackass.
Sorry about that. That is actually, I actually do feel bad. That's horrible.
It's okay. Oh, we teased this, so we have to talk about it. Original article here is from PCWorld.com. Sony peddles snake oil.
Why wasn't this in the main thing?
60, because I moved it. A 64 gig micro SDXC card for premium sound. This, like, are we gonna need like a weekly audiophile snake oil segment?
Yeah,
we had the Ethernet cables, the $10,000 Ethernet cable last
Pono
week.
player.
We've got Pono player. I think I talked about the week before, and then we've got Sony's premium sound SD cards. Spoiler alert. There is absolutely nothing about an SD card that makes it better or worse for audio.
Could it be something to do with EMI connections between the SD card and the player that you wouldn't hear anyways? But could it be? Is that what they're referencing towards?
Let's find out what they have to say about it.
Because
if it just says high speed, then...
that would be junk.
Okay, they're selling it in Japan. It's 4 or 5 times more expensive than a typical 64 gig card. It is supposed to produce less electrical noise.
Okay.
So yes, it is supposed to produce...
You wouldn't, like... Yeah. Still snake oil. I'm just saying. Because there was the register and PC perspective. Put out like, oh yeah, the different type of storage medium, blah, blah, blah. Like, no crap. I don't think that's what they were going for. Of course.
Still, it doesn't...
Like, even snake oily things try a little bit harder than what the register and PC perspective pointed out.
Yeah.
Like, that's obviously not what they were going for. I still think this is totally snake oil, but it has to do with EMI stuff.
Yeah. Now we're just ending the WAN show on a sad note, because someone somewhere is going to buy it, and they're going to think that they got a good deal.
Well, mine doesn't hum as much because of the electrical magnetic interference reduction of my SD card, so therefore is superior, especially when I play it in my Pono player, and when my computer is hooked up via Ethernet cables that are specifically made for audio. My cables are very danceable. That's a good thing.
Kill me now. Okay, so 9to5Mac reports Pebble teases a new model. Sources say thinner watch with color screen in the works. I really hope Pebble actually manages to seed us a unit this time, because I'm happy enough with my G-Watch R that I'm not going to buy it this time. So rumors are that pricing will come in around the price of the Pebble Steel, and it will be initially sold via Kickstarter, not Pebble's retail partners or official website. I mean, that's kind of been their model. It's not like they didn't start their business on Kickstarter. I gotta wonder if companies like Pebble that have demonstrated the success of Kickstarter are probably getting a deal from Kickstarter to continue to support the platform.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't even be that surprised
If Kickstarter was paying them?
if Kickstarter was,
Yep.
well, maybe not paying them, but maybe throwing a lot behind it and kind of going, yeah, we're not going to take a cut, or we're going to take a very small cut.
Or maybe advertising or something.
Yeah, like I would expect this to be more of a trade now that Pebble is the monster that they are. Well, you can't really call Pebble a monster, but they're
fairly monstrous. They're a big deal now. A lot of people know about Pebble.
they are a much bigger deal than I would have ever expected a Kickstarter founded company to be. And
Oculus.
yeah, well, they're bigger than I would have ever expected it to be too. I just mean they both are. Like I didn't expect that kind of success out of
It's
it.
not happening nearly as much anymore, eh? The Kickstarter, like, especially the Kickstarter hardware guys' glory days, seems to be largely gone.
It feels kind of like that whole... see, I don't even remember what they're called anymore. Groupon. It feels like that whole Groupon thing. Like, Groupon made it big, and everyone was really excited about it.
They were huge.
They blew up. A bunch of copycats showed up. And then, when's the last time you heard about a Groupon deal? Or similar? Like,
Yeah, no.
they're still around. They still exist.
Yeah.
You can still get good deals there.
And there's all the different ones.
But no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like the Kickstarter fad seems to be mostly over.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the WAN show today. Like this video if you liked it. Dislike it if you disliked it.
Are we doing a thing?
What thing?
An after thing?
After...
Are you doing stuff?
Oh, garage sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am planning to do garage sale today. I actually didn't go find stuff for it yet, so there might be a bit of a delay, but I'll be back. It will be garage sale time. I'm going to try and sell that Mac again. Wish me luck with that.
Yeah.
This problem is it was like the Pono player last week was hilarious. I was like, I can't tell you this thing is amazing because it's not, but I spent $400 on it, so I'm gonna need someone to give me some money for it.
Did you sell it?
Yeah, I got $190 shipping in, so I had to pay shipping.
But why did anyone buy it for that much?
For $190, I don't know. It's got a 64 gig SD card in it, so there's a value add. I don't know if it's audio file grade.
Its EMI is pretty bad. I don't know. Did you hear that EMI on that Pono player? Maybe that's why the Pono player lost.
Funny story.
It didn't have an equivalent level SD card.
My neighbor again, he met Neil Young.
Oh.
Like way back in the 60s.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I shouldn't name any names, but he didn't speak very charitably of him. Because he mentioned, he was like, because he toured with the Guess Who. Like as an opening act or whatever.
What?
And I was like, no way.
That's ridiculous.
I was like, you have got to be kidding me. He's like, yeah, we were just like, we never made it big or anything, but like me and some buddies, we had a really good agent who got us into like all the parties. So yeah, I met Neil Young and he was telling me all these people he met, and we finally arrived at Neil Young. And I was like, oh, Neil Young, yeah, I know who that is, because I didn't know who a lot of the people were. And he was like, oh. He's like, Chris Christopherson. I'm like, I don't know, man.
I know who that is.
Okay, well, whatever. So
oh well.
So he finally got to Neil Young, and I'm like, yeah, Neil Young. Yeah, we kind of burned him pretty bad on our show not that long ago. He's like, oh yeah, well, he's a whatever. Anyway, so we got to talking about that. Anyway, I think that's it for the show. We'll be back with the garage sale in a little bit, and thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. Roll the intro thing. We had like 7,000 live viewers today.
We did.
You guys are good people.
I like you. You all have attractive butts, regardless of that straw poll.
Some of you don't have attractive butts.
That's maybe true. But I'll say that you do. And you'll take a compliment because you're a good person. Inside.
Wow, really? That's what they did? That's terrible. I am going to fire whoever did this.
It got worse because before, like, the color was different, but now the whole freaking couch moves.
And we get bigger for some reason.